Stinger.
Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh.
Hello and welcome to Working As Intended, our World of Tanks North America bi-weekly stream, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Central and now Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central. I'm here. We got Crazy Boop over here, Tragic Loss down here. You lovely people out there, hope you're having a wonderful time.
You named it?
Yeah, it's Working
We
As
named
Intended.
it.
We named it while you were gone. Crazy Boop left and we're like, now is the perfect time because we won't get any Crazy Boopness in it. I need a haircut really bad. We have... yeah, well, I'm sure I'll be putting on the dunce cap soon enough. Shout out to Monty, Weejix, Daniel Beast, Andrew on YouTube, Alt War, Execrable, Frank Booth. Great to see all you guys. Hope you're having a lovely day. Anyone else I didn't name, you're cool too. So, of course, the big stuff we have to talk about is the New Balance test, which went up. We'll talk about that momentarily.
Oh boy.
Tonight is going to be the last black market deal. So keep an eye out for it. Hopefully you've maybe picked something up nice. If not, sorry. Frank says it looks like Cabbage just woke up. I wish. It's been a long day. It should look
just
like
how his
Cabbage has been
face
through a
is.
long day.
I thought he was at lunch.
Well, it's because my hair's all, yeah. Anyway, Meme Mondays, every Monday. Check it out on our Discord if you're not on our Discord already. It's probably the best single place to go to talk about tanks, find tank memes, talk to Crazy Boop, talk to Domo.
Guess what the topic is for this week?
What's this week's Meme Monday?
It's a black market.
Oh man, I've already seen so many good black market memes on the subreddit.
Open up.
Excited. Frank says your forehead is getting bigger. Yeah, right?
A little,
A little bit. Tankwords.com. Make sure you guys log into tankwords.com. You have until sorry, I think these dates are wrong.
For what?
Say what?
Anyway, you have until the 26th to earn your points, I believe. That's what it says. It just
Yes.
says right. So February 26th to earn your February Tank Awards points. Showdown Saturday, our weekly Saturday event on social media where we challenge you to beat a score that we set in a tank. It's usually not that high of a score. We keep it low to minimize the complaining.
It's okay. It's because I said it,
It's because Crazy Boops. No, they stopped letting me set it because it was too high because I'm so good at the game.
so they let me set it.
Yeah. No. I am better when I play off stream without having to talk, though. And also we have Tragic Loss's Tank Talent Show. Is that happening this week?
No,
Okay.
we're having that suspended for a couple weeks.
It's going to be a 2-week break on Tank Talent Show.
Yes.
Okay. All right, folks. We'll get into. I see that chat is completely filled with New Balance stuff, so we'll get that into that shortly. Give us about 10 to 15 minutes to go over the news, and then we'll get into questions. So real quick, Tragic, if you could come to my screen, we're going to go through the article real quick.
Do that. Whoosh.
We do have a lovely 12-minute video featuring some of our lovely
Which
devs.
we won't show.
We're not going to show it on stream because it's 12 minutes. It's too long. However, I highly recommend going to check this out and
made
reading
me
this
cry.
article on your own.
I cried at my desk when I saw it.
Did you cry?
A little bit, yeah, because I was like, this is stuff, I really wanted this stuff in the game.
You
earlier.
wanted this stuff. Anyway, I don't know if crying is an appropriate thing, but obviously the main purpose of New Balance is to revise the established shell ecosystem, as we have phrased here very concisely and simply. So the main idea is that we are examining the relationship between premium rounds, standard rounds, and HE rounds, and hopefully improving that. We have varying opinions on chat on how effective the test is in that, but we'll see. HE changes are getting a massive change. They're going to work totally differently. Nominally, the idea is they will be more reliable and less dependent on penetration, and they will no longer be able to penetrate with the exception of the KV2 and the KV2R. We'll see how that works out. I've seen mixed results from the test so far. We'll test it out ourselves, give our own opinions. Artillery is getting some changes. The primary idea is to give artillery a choice between 3 different rounds that they should use in 3 different situations. You've got your AP shells, which are specialized for shooting at super heavy tanks that are moving slowly and maybe resistant to other forms of artillery shells. A special HE shell that'll do more damage, but it won't stun. And your standard shell, which will be the most efficient economically, and it will still stun. We have talked previously about adding additional HP to all tiers 1 to 6 and also align the progression from 1 to 10. Again, the goal there is to give lower tier tanks more survivability, make those lower tier games a little more friendly to new players so you don't get instantly 1 or 2 clicked. And also part of the main thing at higher tiers is as we change the shells, balancing the HP totals to account for the changes to the shells, because obviously changing the shells is going to have an effect on the survivability of the
Do we
vehicles.
have fries for all this salt? everybody that has a great opinion or some passionate feedback about these changes in New Balance, please go on the actual New Balance and participate in it so your feedback is shown, because there's a chance for you to earn a badge and some premium time for participating in this
It's
New
a
Balance
decent amount. I
test.
think it's like 5 days of premium time too, right? It's pretty good. It's a pretty good amount.
And you get a badge. So, like,
Yeah.
this is your chance to voice your opinion. You should do it right now.
Yeah. Another part that's changing, and I've seen mixed feelings on a lot of this. I think a lot of older players don't like it because they've got all these vehicles and they like saying that they've earned all of them, which I totally understand. The tech trees are getting cleaned up a bit. We're removing some tanks to simplify them, make them a little easier on the eyes for players who've never seen them before. For those of us who have been around a long time, it may look perfectly natural, but as a new player, it can be kind of intimidating to look at, especially the big three being the USSR, Germany, and the USA. Those tech trees are massive. They're very complicated. So the goal is to simplify them.
They
make
also
them-
had like four tier 1 tanks to like on each one, right? They had multiple tier 1 tanks to
Yes.
go through
Yeah.
to actually get into like one of the branches, and now they put that all down to one, so you can actually not waste your time on those tanks where you're like, what? I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to play the game.
So stuff's getting relocated. It's getting simplified. If you own those vehicles now and they're in your garage, you'll get to keep them. No worries. The ones that are getting removed will circle back into the game as rewards in a lot of different fashions. You guys know where you get rewards now. It'll be fairly similar. It'll just be occasionally have the opportunity to win a lower tier tank. And yep, in-game statistics, personal missions are changing. We're the occasional awards you're going to get replaced with more sensible daily missions. The in-game economy, the ultimate goal for the economy is to keep it about the same as it is now. But because all the numbers are changing, that's going to be somewhat complicated to do. We'll do our best. But the goal is to keep it about the same rate it is now. And of course, as Crazy Boop said, we are going to reward you for playing in the test if you want to check it out. So I think that's the article. Please go watch the video if you are interested in finding out more. It's a good video and gives some words directly from the devs on how it works. And if you have the time and you're inclined to do so, please consider downloading the New Balance client, giving it a shout for yourself, and then taking the surveys and letting us know what you think. I do see a lot of people in chat saying that they don't think that that what they say is going to matter. It does. It definitely does, guys. And definitely, the more people that play, the more data we gather, the more apparent it is what stuff isn't working. And yeah, of course, it's a massive change. There's going to be some stuff that doesn't work. All right, so I think we can answer some questions, and then we're going to play some games on the New Balance server, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let's see what's going on in
He's
chat.
very, very upset about
Have you seen anything that's a particularly good question, Tragic?
No, but I did get an update from our business development manager saying that Alienware desktop giveaway that we were talking about like 2 weeks ago or so.
Yes.
They have contacted the winners, and so I would double check y'all's nice little emails, see if maybe
So
one of you guys
We
won it.
can't announce the winner yet, but there has been a winner chosen
Yes.
and contacted. All right, well, there you go. Excited about that. Hopefully we can do a proper announce once that is settled. Somebody says they're really enjoying Dynasty Wars. Cool. Thanks for letting us know. Someone says they're really not enjoying Tank University. Also let us know. I believe Domo has a feedback thread up in the forums. You could also PM him on Discord. He loves that.
Yeah.
But he's actually working on a report. Poor Domo is sick right now, and he's going to come back to 4 or 5 reports that need finishing. But he is working currently on a report for the Tank University stuff. We know you guys who loved those player tank class right missions maybe aren't thrilled with the changes. So please let us know the particulars of what you liked and did not like so that we are better educated on that. Okay, a couple other things popping up. Some people saying Black Market wasn't as good as the last time. Yeah, we certainly had some pains with the Black Market this time. The auction mechanic was a little interesting. I do think that some of the stuff we sold, there was less of an element of surprise, which is maybe why you didn't enjoy it as much.
Domo does not have the beer virus.
Domo does Domo does not have coronavirus.
No.
He's going to be okay,
Jesus.
guys. He's going to be okay. I saw someone note that the Top Gun or the layout for the collective for the Jumbo is wrong, and that it should not be the top turret. We have given that feedback directly already, but we hear you. You're right. The one that is displayed is wrong. But yeah, we're on that one. Also, I believe the SU-100Y hasn't been updated. I've also spoken to the devs about that, and that is apparently intentional for now. It may change after the test. Can you move the platoon thing? Thank you. Sorry. Also,
No,
I don't
you're
know because we're going to be playing on we're up on the test server right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Fastest Classic on YouTube says, personally, I hope they give the Jumbo back the stock turret as the top one and the 76 or the 105 as the two options. Yeah, that's thing. We're aware of that. I definitely understand.
Can
For
you
those of
adjust
you,
my mic level?
Face your mic more towards your mouth.
It's like in my mouth, but okay.
Yeah, I know.
for those of you
it's
who
tilted up.
aren't familiar, the Jumbo first turret is actually better than the second turret.
Is it?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's more powerful.
The
on
more
front
you
and sides.
know.
Hex1C on YouTube says we need dynamic weather in the game in different day cycles. That would be cool. The devs have addressed that one specifically. It's something that's on the wish list of things we'd like to do at some point, but it just has not come far enough up the priority list to happen. Please don't give out Tier 10 rentals again. Destroyed Tier 9-10 gameplay. I hear you on that. Chad on Facebook says he's been playing on the sandbox and likes the changes. Cool. For Free's here. How you doing, For Free? Hopefully your gaming computer will be up again soon.
I played a little bit of the New Balance stuff. Heavy tanks are back in action with a force. Like the meta is going to shift to heavy tanks again.
Worry. Adam on Facebook wanted to know about what the deal is with the Eminem tank post. So for those of you who missed it, Eminem performed Lose Yourself at the Oscars. And it was just a fun social media post poking fun at that. There's no Eminem World of Tanks collaboration happening. But we thought that
I
it
wish.
was a fun,
that would be
fun
super
joke.
cool.
We have a team that makes art for topical things, and that was what they made for the Oscars.
I honestly thought you meant like actual M&Ms, like the candy, and I was like,
no.
interesting.
The rapper. Zago says super heavies are just broken on Sandbox. It's only possible. I know that some of the vehicles got a higher HP maybe than we intended. Matt's on Twitch says, I've been enjoying the increased HP on the mid-tiers on the Sandbox. Cool. That's one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most is a more enjoyable lower mid-tier gameplay. Sied on Facebook says, HE is broken on New Balance. What am I supposed to shoot at paper tanks if HE does half the damage? Well, I guess you could shoot more AP shells. That is something that is fundamentally changing. As the game exists now, you are somewhat incentivized to shoot HE at thinly armored tanks because you get more damage. That obviously will not be the case after the HE changes. Personally, most of the time I shoot HE at a thinly armored vehicle. It doesn't pen anyway, but maybe I just suck. Rooster says, M&Ms have a wrapper.
Oof.
Dad joke of this day.
Wait, that's not Monty.
It wasn't Monty. Correct.
He's slipping.
Monty says music is like candy. You need to get rid of the wrappers to enjoy it.
With the HE changes, why wasn't the top
Okay.
All right, enough with the roasting. This is not a barbecue.
With the HE changes, why wasn't the Type 5 Heavy 15 centimeter just removed? With the current changes, the 15 centimeter is as useful as nipples on men.
I like my nipples.
I will have to ask that question to the devs directly, Quoth the Raven. I don't have an answer on that one. Mabo says Mike is the last one. Of the current deal, it could be extended in the future, but as I understand it, it will be the last one for this run. Colin says, are EBRs getting nerfed? Not in this patch. However, I do know that is something that the devs are looking at wheeled vehicles. They're not settled on them. Voss would like this to be a barbecue. Okay, good. Fastest Classic on YouTube says, hey guys, the HES changes aren't the way forward. They feel more dumbed down, and the damage calculation seems very strange and a lot less reliable. Yeah, that's the one thing I've seen that people have said is that the HE seems less reliable now. I haven't played it, so I'll have to check it out.
I've played it clumsily, and if you aim at the heaviest armored part of a tank, you're not going to do much damage. But if you aim at weak points, you're going to do a little bit more reliable damage. So That's kind of what I think they were going
Well,
for.
but I've heard that that's not actually how it's working on the test.
Yeah.
Even though that is the stated goal. So I haven't checked it out.
Well, I mean, that's stuff
but
that
I saw some
noticed.
clips of QB playing where it definitely didn't seem more reliable. But like I said,
Yeah.
that's a minor clip. So William on Facebook said that he's going to quit the game if the changes go through. William, I do want to hear you, but could you please let me know specifically what you don't like about the changes? Because it does matter. Obviously, if we have we can work with specific feedback. General feedback is harder.
And if you haven't had a chance to play the game and submit your feedback, highly encourage you do so, because
Yeah.
this is the time to change the meat and potatoes of the game. You get to pick your meats and potatoes.
Card says, I asked you guys last year if the Leopard ammo changes would be undone during the ammo rework. You told me no. Now the fast APCR does less than the normal.
It does less damage because APCR
Sure.
is the Leopard's.
I guess I don't know what you would have meant by undone at the time, because it still has more pen and it's still APCR, which was the change. It was the change
Yeah.
to having 2 APCR rounds.
It's also like
So the change is still
ridiculously
there.
fast,
Yeah,
which
the-
still makes it a really good
Yeah.
sniping tank.
The velocity, the shell velocity
Yeah.
was increased to the top, or is it the second most?
Alan says,
I
I
think
need
it's like the top.
I need
think
help on
it's
the mess I
fastest.
got in on Black Market. Alan, what's going on with your Black Market? I see some people Jeff is mourning the death of the T49 because the HE pen is gone. I hear you on that. Zago says decimating lower tier will make the game bland as new players have no incentive to get collector tanks. Okay. Sorry, I don't have a response. I mean, I think people who enjoy collecting tanks will enjoy collecting tanks. Some of the tanks will be
They're
Good.
able to get to be like you can get them later on. Like that's something that the devs announced in the
Yeah.
notes for the New Balance is they're not going away. You'll be able to get them later on.
Alan says lost 13K gold on the Object 261. Please submit a support ticket if you haven't already, Alan. They're going to be able to help you a lot better than we can on the stream. I thought it was no, you thought it was the tank. I hear you. Yes, support is going to be your way forward, Alan.
All right. Do we want to get started on some battles on
Yep.
the
Yep.
test server? And then after a few battles on the test server, we're going to move over onto the normal server. That way we can get some platoons in with you guys, and that way we can continue answering more questions.
My God, so Card says, my God, you people, you said the Leopard would not be affected by the ammo rework after balancing the tank around the ammo. I mean, I have to be honest, Card, I don't remember what I said, but the what I interpreted you saying as would the APCR change, and that was the change at the time, was the APCR changed.
That's not part of the
So,
ammo rework.
but
at
if
all, by the way.
literally every tank is getting their premium round changed, yes, the Leopard's premium round change is also going to change. Apologies if I
Can
led
you
you to believe something else.
accept my platoon invite.
Sure. All right, so I think we should play. You're in XFBQ. We're in XFBQ clan.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
We
interesting.
get all
What
new
clan is
clans
that?
on the test server.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm gonna play the Death Star. I think.
Yeah, that's what
Cool.
I've been playing.
Oh, if you're gonna play the Death Star, I'll play something else.
Okay.
I'll play the Leopard.
A thing to remember about these ammo changes, and that they have changed significantly on what they're supposed to do in the game. HE is supposed to take out wheels and do module damage and finish off players. You're supposed to be focusing on the AP round if you're trying to damage a tank, because it actually has penetration value. Does it always work out? No.
Ardent says, "Are you guys multi-streaming? You seem to be replying to comments I can't see." Yes, I try and give the platform they're on, so that's obvious. But we stream to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook at the same time.
Yeah.
I saw someone else say that I don't understand why the HE changes are happening. I don't think anyone had a problem with HE. The devs did. If you personally didn't, that's certainly feedback we can send. But yeah, the devs felt that HE needed some changes.
The reason I felt it was I was getting whittled down by light tanks with HE in my heavy tank. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like a heavy tank. I feel squishy.
Retro Carnival says, why did the devs relent and make the KV2 and KV2R exempt from the ammo changes? I think specifically there's a feeling that the KV2 and the KV2R are a very specific meme that are good as they are. And so they don't want to do the same changes. I have mixed. I mean, I get it. I also feel that if they're going to do that, why not do the same for some of the other iconic dirt vehicles? But I think the KV2 is maybe the most iconic. Oh wow! All of my controls are different because it's a new client.
Oof.
Oh, you change up your controls a lot?
I use F instead of Shift for zoom because I press it a lot.
Benjamin Williams asks, are weak spot tank skins illegal in World of Tanks? I believe 3D hit skins are illegal,
Yes.
but I don't believe like the ones that just lay against the tank's like exterior are against the rules. Basically, it just gives you a general idea of where modules are.
There we go. My sensitivity is all bad too.
What happened to Lunar Rewards? Why has it stopped? I believe the event ended.
Yes. The event ended, but like some of the rewards carried on
Yeah.
through the bonus slots for vehicles carried on a little bit extra, and now that the whole thing is over.
Please stop ignoring my question and answering below or above mine. Will heavy tanks with broken armor profiles like the 279 and Chieftain get rebalanced and players can get a refund for the FV183? What?
So I think he wants a refund in the F183 because of the HE changes.
Yeah.
I don't believe specific armor profiles are getting changed in this update. It's mostly about the HP changes. However, those vehicles could very well get an armor rebalance at some point.
This is the HE changes is definitely affecting armor and how people play the game. So I don't think they're going to do a knee-jerk reaction and start refunding everybody and doing all that stuff without more information.
Keep in mind, this is the first test, so the best thing you can do right now, if you don't like a change, is let us know what you don't like and why. It's just a test right now, guys.
Jeez.
Jeff said that I read it was to stop the 26th. I'm assuming they're talking about the lunar event.
I think that's tank rewards.
Let's see. Yeah, Tank Rewards ends on the 26th.
And then you have to redeem points.
Lunar event was supposed to end today at basically 4 o'clock in the morning.
So really yesterday.
Yeah, basically.
Danam says, does Minsk listen to you guys? Yes, our report's good filed right next to CIS and EU. We talked about this at length on the stream last week, but it is true that the majority of our audience is in those two regions and not here, and that does matter. But yes, they do listen to us. Sylvatic Wave says, 5th time asking now. Apologies, first time I'm seeing it. Why is the T49 HE gun changed when they mention it's going to be the same as the KV2? It is a 0 pen gun now. Where did they say it was going to be the same as the KV2?
In the video, they said they are changing it.
I'm confused.
Say what?
In the video, they said they are changing the
Like they're reducing it and they're leaving.
the KV2. So the
Yeah.
T49 was actually specifically mentioned as a different. It's being treated differently than the KV2. Okay.
They called it
Yes.
out specifically, saying this is going to
Where
lose.
is that?
Yeah.
It's going to lose its properties.
I would rewatch that section of the video because they pointed out, as Crazy Boop says, basically that the T49 is one of the tanks at the higher
That was bad.
tier in which will be affected by the HE changes, whereas the KV2 and KV2R will not be
Zago
affected.
says, yep, they said T49 is going to have pen on HE.
Uh,
I'll have to rewatch the video. I didn't think it said that.
I remember it calling it
Yeah.
out and saying, "Sorry guys, you're losing.
yeah.
You're losing the pen."
I'm pretty. So there is a still shot on the video that specifically lists all of the upper tiers that are going to be affected by the HE changes. I would highly recommend going back and looking, because I feel like some people may have misunderstood that section. They specifically say that the KV-2R and the KV-2 are not going to be affected, but tanks like the FV-183 or FV-215, 183 are going to be affected, and so will the T-49.
It's impressive
And the
that
Sheridan.
Leopard is there and the IS-7 is past it. He's saying exactly why does the KV-2 have special status when the T-49 Sheridan forfeited the Death Star component? Well, we spoke about that already, but the KV-2 apparently they feel is in a particular not unbalanced position now, so they don't want to mess with it. Thorin says Death Star hit for sub 200 damage. Sean O'Donnell says the Death Star is going to be like a normal star now. Were you shooting Hesh?
I shot Hesh at an enemy IS-7, and I only did 200 damage because I hit it right in the tracks, as opposed to probably if I hit it anywhere else in the hard spot, it probably would have just did like 2 damage. And then I swapped to the normal ammo, and I shot a mouse straight in the lower glacis when my reticle was green, and it didn't penetrate at all. It just kind of laughed at it. So you definitely can't stroll around in a Death Star like you used to and just blast the crap out of people.
So we hit a bingo. Tragic's going to send out the bingo sheet. You guys are hitting the bingo so fast these
Yeah, I
days.
know. I think I need to adjust the redemptions there.
For those of you who don't know, the bingo is a real quick thing. The sign-up sheet's going out now. If you sign up, you get we roll on a random number generator, and a winner gets 3 days of premium or a code depending on Tragic's mood that day.
Are we doing another game in the test?
Yes, we'll do
Yes.
one more game.
I'm gonna
on
play the Death
test,
Star once.
Okay.
and then after that, we will.
Switch over and start doing tunes on the normal server.
Yeah.
Sure thing. All right, I want to try out this Hesh change for myself. The only thing I know is Cookie Baby's clip where he did 1,100 damage to the front of a Jaggaroo, and then your game right there. So I'll have to check that out.
Now, I have hit a medium tank in the turret where it's like, hey, this turret's probably really tough. And then I almost wiped him completely out of HP. So there are points on tanks that you can shoot with this amazing Hesh round and still do Death Star stuff. But it looks like armor is back restored in full glory on heavy tanks.
Yeah, Arden says they specifically said, and I quote, for example, the T-49 or the Sheridan, the penetration of their HE shells has decreased, but they remain as effective as before. Okay, so this is a question about the veracity of that statement then. So what they're trying to say is because of the increase in the average damage of a non-pen hit, that it will equate to about this, at least the goal is that it will equate to about the same performance as before. Cryptic Shock has pointed out that there's no alpha that's going to make up the difference of not being able to park behind a heavy tank and get a pen for 1,000 damage, which is probably true. But I think the idea would be that the overall performance will be about equitable.
So, 13 Disciple takes a direct quote from the video. Very few vehicles will be able to penetrate armor with an HE shell. The only exceptions are the KV-2 and KV-2R, which means they're the exception to being able to... They are the ones that can penetrate armor.
Yeah.
They will still be capable of doing so. As for the vehicles that mostly rely on high explosive-based gameplay, for example, the T-49 and the Sheridan, the penetration of their HE shells has decreased. So that is in reference to very few vehicles will be able to penetrate armor. That specifically states that HE shells will not be able to penetrate armor, and that the Sheridan and the T-49 are part of those vehicles that have had their penetration decreased to 0. So it's not super clear, but it does specifically state that the T-49 and the Sheridan are vehicles that have gone from being able to penetrate with HE to not being able to penetrate with HE. So.
How am I getting spotted?
Will artillery still have HE pen? So, later in the video, they talk about HE. Basically, a lot of it is going to be... they now have 3 shells again, which are HE, AP, and... I forget what the third one is, but...
So there's 2 kinds of HE. There's the standard
Yeah.
HE, which has stun, and the super HE, which does more damage and has a larger spross radius but doesn't stun.
All right. Major David says, Wargaming made Artie to be the OP-ist type of tank in the game. YouTubers and streamers are complaining about it, and in general about the game that is too much pay to win. Like World of Tanks is losing players like crazy. The EU players 200k in total. Like back in the days, they were over 600 players.
So this is a 10-year-old game. We have lost players, it's true. I don't know if you can point it to any one change.
And then Shadow Ninja asks, why is
One of these
Wargaming
is going to hit.
on the anniversary being so
Yeah,
cheap
those have been happening
by
to me
giving
too.
away a tier 3 tank? I believe historically that's what we've done.
We're not giving away a tier 3 tank, though. I'm not sure
Oh.
what he's referring to.
Is he
Then
talking
I
about the
have no
replacement tanks? The
No,
T6?
he's
and
talking
the-
about an anniversary reward tank. Are you a console? I think that might be a console
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Maybe it is a console thing, no?
So there was a 600 damage front shot with the Hesh on an E100. That is about in the middle of a non-pen and a pen for this tank.
Did you hit it in
And
like a
then
soft spot? Or do you...
So Nutton Special says the changes are not set in stone. The playtest is still going. After many battles, the devs will adjust the optimum game mechanics. So please be patient.
Yes, it is. This
Yes.
is the first official test of the New Balance. Things will change. 575 that time. Not sure where that hit, but it could have been lower plate.
That's what I noticed. If I was shooting Hesh at like a normal weak spot, I was getting a decent roll. And then if I was firing at something that was squishy, like a medium tank's turret, I was getting really good rolls.
ADK says, I would love to see the servers merge. The NA numbers are too low and servers have been laggy.
Queue times are still less than a minute.
Yeah.
Not sure the numbers are too low.
So I recommend ADK that you go and you submit a ticket to our support staff and see if you can use a ping plotter to see where the droppage in your specific
Come on.
the droppage in your specific network route are going through, because it could be an issue of one server between you and the actual game server. So that's what I would recommend.
13 Disciple, did you send me those gunners that were underperforming for you earlier?
Probably. He's like, payback!
I think he snuck them into my tanks.
Almost definitely. I can guarantee that. So I assume what Wargaming is saying is that HE shells can no longer go through armor and explode inside the tank and now just splash on the surface of enemy armor, but the KV-2 can still pen. Yes.
Correct. What are you doing, Gunner? That's not where the shell goes.
Is he injured?
No.
Please
Maybe
explain how Artie
brain.
is going to earn XP if most of
Make a
it
kill
has
Jagger
is gotten
momentarily.
through stun damage and types. So
Personal missions are changing. They can
Yeah.
announce that too.
Yeah, there. If you read the article, there's a specific section that says that we're going to be reworking some of the statistics as well. So I highly recommend that you read the article too, because it definitely
Yeah,
has.
that's what I've been
For
doing.
those of you who are wondering if we got preferable RNG, no. No, we do not.
Anyways, we are
So being in a
going
heavy
to-
tank is really fun in this new
I'm
test.
gonna post the bingo sign up one last time. And while we wait for Crazy Boop and Cabbage to switch to the main server.
So I'm going to put some more time onto the test server tomorrow. Obviously, I want to play some of those HE-focused vehicles like the Death Star, like the T-49, and form my own opinion on how those changes are. I have mixed feelings about the shots I did land did a fair amount of damage, but not having the higher end roll did feel a little disappointing.
He'll be sure to put that in his survey.
Sylvatic Wave says, I disagreed about low tier HE pen changes. For example, 76mm gun HE has 38mm. It's not a lot at first place, but this offered a risky choice for us low tier players. Switch to HE to pen the light for higher damage, or it could just do 30 damage. Now you took it away, and light armor, high DPM tanks can continue to run around less concerned of being punished for their mistakes, such as the Type 64 or the T67. The low tier HE is a calculated choice, not like the first choice. That's true. It is a simplification, and that is a risk reward that has been taken off the table. Guess you relaunched the sandbox instead of switching clients.
Oof. So we have a comment from Major David. Actually, I'm going to take out Wargaming killed this game like everything is based on pay to win.
It's dead.
Okay, you put a lot of
dead
likes
since
in
2014.
there. Even the esports is also dead because it's not balanced. So many YouTubers quit the game, including Sir Foch and the Foch.
I can't comment on anybody who quit the game. I mean, people do spread out. I don't agree that is the reason that esports didn't work out. I think it's a lot of complicated reasons. For me, the biggest reason that esports didn't work out is the base game for this game and the esports were two completely different games. And so it never was successful at drawing a wider general audience. Because your average player watches esports, they want to feel like they can recognize when a player does something. They want to learn from the pro players. They want to feel like they can emulate the pro players. And it's really hard to do when what the game that the pros are playing looks nothing like the typical game that you play. That's my opinion. I think there's some other reasons too, but for me, that's the biggest one.
And then Zago says,
But it wasn't because of balance.
Is it possible these changes will be dropped if they're super unpopular?
Anything is possible. I think it's pretty unlikely they'll get dropped entirely. However, I do think there's a lot of room for adjustment. But if you're referring specifically to HE stuff, that might be a more complicated one.
All right, so I closed the bingo sign up. So if you didn't sign up, I'm sorry, you missed out, and we are going to pick someone.
And again, I don't know if I'm not saying anyone's not justified in disliking the changes as they're proposed. I haven't played them enough to have my own opinion on them, to be honest. But I think it's a bit early to be quitting the game because of them. They're not even in the live server yet.
Is this the?
This is the bingo winner.
This
the
is
bingo
our
winner.
Bingo winner is Crazy Boop. Announce it.
2 goth for you.
2 goth for you. You are probably 2 goth for me.
Probably. All right.
Do you have their actual?
Yeah, that's their in-game name. So I'm gonna credit them with 3 days of premium time.
True is here. Hey, True. Hope you're doing well, man.
What's up,
Been a
True?
while since we've talked. It's a bummer.
Did I just emulate your follow notification? What's up, True?
I agree on esports and CSGO. You watch the pros play and then you do a public match and it feels like the exact same thing, and WADA was just too different. Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing, too, is like if you're an average player watching a pro play a game, like for me anyway, when I watch esports, which is a fair amount and probably more than the average person, maybe not more than the average gamer, but I want to learn. I want to watch the pro players, and I want to learn spots. I want to learn where I can go at the beginning of a match.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
And you couldn't do that with the 7v7 WGL format versus random battles. They're just totally different. I'm not against the 7v7 format. It's just totally different than random battles. Orton says, hello, I have a question. Since the AMX 3030B and T62A are moving to a promotional stats along with others, the article states we would get another vehicle in the tree. Does this mean if you had these, you will also get a token for another tank in the nation? Sorry, I missed it. Can you scroll up? I missed the last part. Does this mean if you also had these, you will get a token for another tank in the nation of the same tier? I was confused by what they mean. Where did you see the thing about getting another vehicle in the tree?
No.
My understanding is that you will keep the vehicle
Yeah.
that
Yes.
exists.
So we're not removing any tanks from the game. We are removing them from the tech tree, and you cannot research them. So they will become collector's tanks, and any of the ones that I believe led to another tank, if we change the tier of that tank, you will get national blueprints for that tank. And so that is part of the video. You are not getting tokens for another tank of that same tier. You are getting national blueprint fragments, and you are also getting
okay.
the collector's version
He
of the
clarified.
tank.
If a vehicle that you have already researched and purchased is removed from the tech tree, the next tank or tanks located
Yeah,
higher in
that's
the
what I thought.
research branch
Yes.
will automatically be unlocked.
Yes.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if it's a tier 10, I don't think that applies.
No.
I'm not sure. They'll have to ask.
Is Voss around?
Voss? Sir Vex the best?
Dopey said, I researched the T62A but never bought it. Now what? I would buy it, Dopey. I would save the credits and buy it before this change goes live.
All right. Vex, I'm going to give you... Oh, okay. He's here.
Give him
Right
a
there.
sec.
Do you all read more Twitch than other medias? No. We actually
They all
have
get
a...
dumped into one pile.
Yeah, they all get dumped into one pile.
Actually,
Sometimes...
sorry. Speaking of, I just want to keep
for it.
going on the
Yeah,
topic because we
go
have so
for
many
it.
questions coming in. Can you scroll up? There was a Facebook question from Damon. Okay. Oh,
There was a comment.
there was one higher. This was multiple comments in a row. Okay, a lot of people are upset. Okay, this is BS. Wargaming removing 21 artilleries. Nerf ain't good enough. Oh no, now let's remove them. I don't think we're removing 21 artilleries.
There is.
Yeah.
Is there even 21 artilleries?
To remove?
There
Yeah.
are, but I don't think we're removing.
That would
21.
be almost... I think
Actually,
that
I'm
would
not
be
sure.
more than half
I'm not sure
of the
we're
artillery.
removing any.
No, none of them are getting removed.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Damon. Let me know where you found that information, but to my knowledge, we are not removing any
So
SPGs.
there was a Reddit thread that I actually commented on. Someone posted an Imgur link, an Imgur like album, and this shows all of the tanks that are being removed, quote unquote, because they will become collector's tanks. And I believe almost, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the American tech tree, 5, 6, 7, 8 tanks.
Birch gun getting removed? Is that
9,
true?
10,
Okay.
11.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
So if there are some getting removed, you will be able
There
to
are.
keep them if you have them.
Yeah.
We are ready for a tier 8 count-in when you
Cool.
are.
All right.
We're going to be doing a tier 8 count-in on the U.S. Central
count
server.
in, get ready.
You can try and get into our team and help us out, or on the other team and kill us. Your choice. Try not to stream snipe. We're bad enough as it is.
All right, count in 5,
I don't need your help dying.
4,
Okay.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Dopey Tripod on YouTube says, is this happening in the next few days or weeks? No.
No.
This is the first test of
This is
this
only a
patch went
test.
live yesterday. There will be multiple tests before we get close
We're
to
just
live.
trying to iterate.
This is test
like,
number 1.
Hey guys, this is your chance to speak up and give feedback to the
Yeah.
devs because they're offering
That's-
rewards for it.
And look, I understand the skepticism, guys, but like this is the time. If you want to be skeptical, save it for test 3. If there's something that's still there, now is
Yeah.
the time to actually tell us what is and is not working in your
Yeah.
opinion, because we're going to have multiple tests and multiple iterations before we get to a live release. So don't quit the
what
game now. least-
Sorry.
I'm just going to say, wait till it hits the live server to quit.
Yeah, Exo says, what happens when they are collectors? Can you just not get them? You can. So it's in the video. I highly recommend that before you guys ask any questions. A lot of these questions that y'all are asking are actually answered in the video.
And also
Watch
on a
it 3 times over.
9-page thread
I mean,
forum post.
it's
Yeah.
a 12-minute video,
Yeah.
and there's an article. We're happy to answer
yeah.
questions. We have the answers for. But it is worth your time probably to go check out
Yes.
the article or the YouTube video.
You did watch the video. Well, it says in the video that if...
Well, like I
if
said, that's
you-
why it's 12 minutes
yeah.
of information. Nobody's going to retain everything in it.
Yeah. I would watch it like 5 times over because I watched it 5 times over, but I'm not gonna.
I don't think the
like,
average person's going to watch it.
Probably not. But
She only
but
watched it 5 times because
do.
she liked the jacket.
because I like the check.
Is that why?
No,
Yeah.
It was
maybe a
pretty-
little bit.
It was a hoodie. But
It was a
right?
hoodie.
Yeah.
It was a hoodie.
I guess that's a. I just think it's a hooded sweatshirt, not a hooded jacket.
So,
Come on, crazy
Silvatic Wave says, could this change just apply to high caliber guns? I think the main concerns and complaint from most players are not for small caliber and low tier guns. It's mainly top tier big HE spamming guns. That made hull down side scraping less enjoyable. Low tier, low cal guns can't really do any of that. I don't understand why the rebalance applies to them as well. So, realistically, the only tanks that I feel like are going to really change at low tier are probably going to be, well, for one, the KV-2 and the KV-2R are probably the most notable big caliber low tier gun that uses HE often.
Yep.
And then the other one I would say would probably be the M4 with the big derp gun. But the thing is, I think the M4 is actually getting turned into a collector's tank, and that's already going to be...
The jumbo is. I don't think the normal is.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I believe the M4 is probably the only other tank, but that one isn't really, like, the top configuration for that tank isn't necessarily the
No,
big derp one.
I'm dead. 2 tracks. What are the odds? What are the odds of getting
Hetzer,
tracked
jumbo.
twice?
They also
That's fair,
mentioned
yeah.
in the HE changes that
Oh,
all
yeah,
of
the
the
Italian
all of the
tanks,
tank HE
Color me wrong.
Yeah. Also, I saw Pickle ask when Frontline is starting. We'll have an official announce on that soon, but it sometime in next month probably. Like I said, official announcement coming soon.
Do
So-
people really use HE in all of those? Like, HE only? Huh. Today I learned.
Which vehicles?
These ones. KV-885, KV-13. Okay, some of these tanks
I think those are
are
ones getting removed,
yeah.
not HE tanks.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I was like, what?
Oh no, the Churchill gun carriage is getting removed. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, darn.
Not the Churchill gun carriage.
Ooh.
Anything
oh,
but
no.
that vehicle.
Take my eyes, but
don't
not the
take
gun
that
carriage.
away. Oh no, not the M3 Lee. No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Actually, I'm a staunch M3 Lee defender.
I mean, maybe, and like we've said, guys, this is only the first iteration of the New Balance test. Like, things can change. The more you guys say what you believe isn't good for the game, the more you should talk about it. Like, just flat out.
Yeah, I mean, the squeaky wheel gets the grease at the end of the day.
Wow. I was the one. Oh, okay.
Oof.
What?
Why do we have to remove so many tanks? We're simplifying the tech tree, so that way it's easier for people to move up the lines.
Yeah, later on YouTube says the AMX-30 Proto was really good until you guys nerfed it. It's actually still really good.
Yeah.
And then you removed it from the game in Super Test because it's not good anymore. It's still quite good.
Sandbox, Super Test, Common Test, no. Like, we had 4 sandbox tests, and none of them have hit live servers. This is a different test, and it's basically Sandbox is not completely separate from that line, but it is a test version. Generally, things go Super Test, Common Test, second Common Test, maybe third Common Test, and then live server. This is technically a weird branch.
There's no hard rule.
Yeah.
We'll see what the progression is, but we know in the short term that there will be multiple tests on the New Balance test server. So where it goes from there, we'll see. In general, stuff that hits the common test is extremely close to being released. Stuff that hits the super test is speculative, and stuff that hits the sandbox is experimental. But that's not a hard and fast rule. It's not 100% of the time. This is how we will progress from development to live.
Damon says he's never played a game in his life where the developers are constantly messing with the game. Have you ever played League of Legends,
Any
CS:GO?
We change our game
MMO?
a lot less.
Overwatch?
We change our game a lot less than
Overwatch,
most
yeah.
MMOs. So I'm not sure what games you're playing, but we change the game a lot less than League of Legends, Dota, many Rainbow Six Siege. We actually balance patch less than those games.
Leo TZ1 says we don't want a simple tech tree. We want we
tanks.
want that
He
one.
wants
and
new
more
tanks.
maps.
I get it.
So, I mean, simplifying the tech tree isn't necessarily for people who already play your game. It's mostly for people who don't play
It's
the game
for the
yet.
new player experience more than
Yeah.
anything. Just because, like, when you're a new player, the amount of choices for you to invest your free XP and XP into it's daunting for a new player. And then you realize, like, oh, that tank's not my play style. So then you're out however many free XP that is, just gone, that you could have used for another module or crew member or something like that.
George on Facebook doesn't like simplifying the tech tree to allow bad players to get to tier 10 faster. George, the one thing I just don't totally agree with is the notion that, like, There are lots of people who play this game for 60,000 games who are terrible at it. And there's lots of people who play the games for 3,000 games that are great at it. I don't know if battle count is an effective term for who is going to play the way you want them to at tier 10. I hear you on the one level, but I don't think anybody's getting to tier 10 so fast that they're not going to have an opportunity to get better at the game.
Yeah. Do I get my XP back for going down every wrong line? You will get national blueprints. It's
For the vehicles that
yeah.
you have blueprints for.
Yes.
But that's not going down the line.
Yes.
Benjamin on Facebook said, I started playing the game in 2011 because of the choices. Well, there's still plenty of choices, Benjamin. We're talking about going from like more than 600 down to still more than 600, not...
Like they're still branching off.
There's still quite a lot of vehicles.
But
Yeah.
the fact that there's not going to be like 6 tier 2s to pick from to go down different little avenues.
I can't see what tier that is.
That's tier 9.
Tier 9. All right. Get ready. Low tiers aren't the problem. You could get to tier 6 within 2 days easily. So low tiers do have a big issue, and one of the biggest issue that is going to be attempted to be addressed in this new balance test is raising the amount of HP that is at lower tiers, and so that makes the time to kill longer, and if the time to kill is longer, that means you have more time to figure out what you did wrong, and so it helps new players have more time to understand the mistakes that they've made.
The
in a match.
learning curve in this game is
is a cliff.
let me wait 30 seconds. All right, I'm in the game. Let's go driving. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, so George made a comment that there are people less than 200 battles playing in Dynasty Wars. Yes, with the rentals.
Yeah.
But those are, I hear you. For you, it is one issue where it's too easier for new players to get to the game. For me, there is a difference between the Dynasty Wars thing, which I totally understand the issue with giving brand new players tier 10 rentals, and I don't think it has quite as big of an impact maybe as you do, but I understand the frustration caused by it. But I think that's different from changing the tech tree to make it quicker to go down the line. Before, it took a very long time to get to tier 10 before we made any of these changes, and it still takes a long time now. It is less of a long time, but it's still, if you're going to progress from tier 1 to tier 10,
So-
it's an investment of time and energy, for sure.
So Tim says, so all these changes will hurt the players that have been here the longest. What will I do with more blueprints? I can't use the ones you got. So if you have a technical engineer, which means you have every tank in the game, you will retain all of the tanks that are being removed, and you will be able to purchase them. Or if they're above tier 6, they become a reward tank. There are other ways to earn them. But the biggest thing is you're not going to be losing out on any of that.
Tier 9 count in ready.
So somebody said, like QB said, Wargaming is just removing the lower tiers because they can't figure out how to fix them. I mean, one of the biggest parts of this patch is improving the lower tier gameplay, so I don't think that's true.
Yeah. All right, count in 5,
Tier 9.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
John says, Blueprints allowed me to bypass German tier 8 and tier 9 right to my new Leopard 1. That's, I gotta be honest, that's kind of, well, the tier 8 maybe, but honestly, the tier 9 Leopard's quite good now. I don't know if, I mean, the
Fastest
tier 10's
shot in
great
the
too.
West
Here's
now.
a
But I quite like the
real
tier 9
long
leopard.
comment.
I'm focusing, sorry, this is Sylvatic Wave on Twitch. I'm focusing about the low tier locale guns because I'm a competitive tier 6 stronghold player, and the HE of Cromwell's T-3485 is very good at dealing with light tanks such as the 6.4 and the AMX-12T. Taking the ability for us to punish the opponent's mistake is a big punch at the tactical level. The small HE is not just a brainless spam, it's a mere calculated risk that is similar to the sandbox APA-PCR relationship, as their low caliber prevents the annoying spamming aspect of them.
Please submit that feedback.
That's good feedback.
Yeah, that's really good feedback.
Because that's
Can I just-
Strongholds.
hold
That's
on,
one of
let
our
me
competitive stuff.
Screenshot that's actually really good feedback. All right, screenshotting that. I'm gonna send that to Domo so he can have it when he comes back. All right. If I can find Domo in my PMs, there we
See you later, Anthony. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, cool. Thank you. What was your name? Sylvatic Wave. I like your name, by the way. Can we vote and get some of the old maps back? We are reintroducing
on 'em.
Pearl River's coming.
River. pretty soon.
Berlin's coming.
Gotta
back.
be honest, Dragon Ridge, probably the most requested. Probably not coming back.
I mean, we've definitely taken a huge hit when the Halloween event didn't happen.
Damon
so-
says we won't even mention the Halloween event that happened last year. Because
Yeah.
it didn't happen. Yeah, that's the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, no one here was happy about that either.
No.
But unfortunately, it was probably better to not run a mode that wasn't stable than it would have been to force it through.
Let's see. Why are you guys giving national blueprints?
doing?
Because national blueprints, I believe, are dropped at a lower
am I
rate,
doing?
and so you guys get
I'm
less
gonna
of them less often. Whereas universal
Cabbage, what are you
blueprints, if you have a tank already, it will show
Are there
up
snipers
as
up there?
a
Yes, of course there are. I don't know why I pushed
Shows up
around.
as a universal.
I knew as soon as I did it, it was a
As a
horrible
replacement.
decision. If I just did it anyway.
How about the map changes on Minsk? I don't know.
There
Cabbage?
are. They're
Yeah.
draining the river.
It was a choice, Voss. It was just incredibly stupid. I don't know why.
The plan is to drain the river in Minsk.
Yeah, so we don't have any news on the Minsk changes other than that they're happening. Oscar Mike says any changes to matchmaker being. So did you do that one already, Z?
Which one?
No. Any changes to matchmaker be considered,
No.
for example, factoring in player skill win rate? No, there's no intention right now to create a skill-based matchmaker. This is probably one of our oldest topics here on stream. It doesn't work the way people think it works, I guess. And games with skill-based matchmaker have many complaints about skill-based matchmaking that I think people don't necessarily appreciate. We've dabbled in it with rank battles, and that'll still happen. But random battles are going to remain random, and you're going to have some games where you get a massive skill imbalance. But I don't think it's as common as you'd think it is. XVM is win chance is not an effective way of determining those
Let's
things.
see. Someone was asking about the gosh, what is it?
Even a tomato can have a
ping
great game.
spikes.
Pocahontas says it probably was better to not run a mode that wasn't stable than to force it through. Look at Black Market 2020 and tell me that again, please. Well, Pocahontas, my response would be if we thought Black Market is stable, you really want us to run the Halloween event?
Jeez.
No, the black market issues were pretty unforeseeable. The database error, basically, it was something that didn't show up in testing, even when we tested it going live. It was something specific about the live server that caused the black market issues.
So I was trying to find if we had a hot topic for it, but there was a small patch that went out for the lag issue that a lot of people have been having. However, if you're still having lag issues, I highly recommend you use a ping plotter and send that information to our support staff, and they can help you
Cabbage, there
figure
was
out
literally a bee's
where
nest up
in
there.
your
Yeah, I know, it was
network
stupid.
routing your data is being dropped, because that could be your issue. But we have addressed the issue a few times on stream, and we are trying to spread that information, so highly recommend you submit a ticket. So
Corey, sorry, can you scroll up a little bit?
yes, I can.
There's Tony on YouTube and Corey on Facebook are making the same point. Corey thinks that I think you're stupid. I don't think you're stupid, Corey. They both say it's not that common. I mean, it depends on your definition of common. How do you determine whether or not there's a massive skill difference between the team? The outcomes would suggest that it's not super common. It does happen, and maybe even a little more frequently than it used to. But it's not. The spread is usually pretty close in terms of WTR rating between the teams.
Yeah. Dopey Tripod says ping plotter. Where can this be found? You can actually just Google ping plotter, and it'll show up. It's probably one of the first ones on there.
Yay!
Yeah. I mean, so I guess what I'm saying is what I think happens, and this happens to everyone, is when you are on a team that has a massive skill disadvantage, you tend to notice it a lot more than when you notice when you're on a team with a very close.
You ever get to the end of the battle and you're like, man, I haven't shot anybody. I've had those days.
Yes.
Many
Saeed Usman Zublar says use Updog instead, and I was about to be like, "What's Updog?"
Gotcha.
Jeez, trying to pun us over here.
Heckhouse says super heavies are being buffed by nerfing premium ammo damage. How is that called a balance change? Well, the super heavies are also nominally, this isn't true 100% of the time, getting less of an HP boost than most other tanks, partly to account for that. I think the E100 is still getting a massive one, but let's be honest, the E100 needs buffs, so don't hate on that one. And then some of those numbers are going to get adjusted further as the testing shows that if vehicles are overperforming, we'll know it from the test.
Yeah, and then Allure Jordan says basically that 15-0 losses victories has increased substantially since the implementation of Dynasty Wars. Well, I mean,
So
for
I
one,
guess I have to look at the data before I tell
Yeah.
you that you're wrong, because I don't know. You may be right,
But
but I don't
also-
see why it would be the case.
Yeah, but also Dynasty Wars is going away real soon. So
Well,
if you're,
no, it's also just a simple matter of logic, right? So
Yeah.
if 600 players who shouldn't be playing tier 10, or in the average player's opinion, are too clueless to play tier 10, all join the queue at the same time, your odds of getting on a team with an equal amount of them is identical. So over games, it will balance between the two. So I guess in order for what you say to be true, the people who shouldn't be playing tier 10 would have to be being distributed unequally, which I don't think is true.
Okay. And then Michael says, can we use Ouija check to test our
was an
connection?
epic
Yes, you can. And then Zago says, how will we be able to get the removed higher tier tanks we do not own? Bonds, credits, gold event. So that's going to be brought up later on. Obviously, the lower tier ones are becoming collectible collectors tanks, and you can
Is Pickle
purchase
still
those
alive?
in the
Yeah,
store.
he's the arty.
Can you switch back to
Oh,
Crazy Boop screen?
okay. Yeah, I can do that. Oop. But but yeah.
Card says, help us understand how the KV2 is immune to HE balance, and the patch is supposed to balance HE. I don't care about the premium one. I want fairness and balance to apply to the texture. KV2, please respond by gaslighting me again. I don't think I've ever gaslit you, Card. At least not intentionally, which I think by definition gaslighting has to be intentional. But the reason it hasn't changed is because the KV2 is too much of a meme to change. It's a legendary meme.
They really didn't give us reasons.
Yeah, no, I mean, the reasoning is the KV2 is balanced the way it is, so it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be changed. But I think we all know the reason is the KV2 is a legendary meme, and it's not getting changed because it's not going to be overpowered with the changes.
Yeah. So up next we have Tahan Kwai, who used their move next in Platoon Q, and then after that we have 13 Disciple, who also used it.
Thanks for the game, Pickle. Sorry I failed you so horribly.
He found the bee's nest for us, so thanks.
Corey
And the
on
Death
Facebook says,
Star
why does it
is-
happen in Dynasty Wars? Because you have a flood of players who have 0 tier 10s. Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that, Corey, but like I said, it shouldn't have an effect on the overall win or loss rates because the distribution of the players who have no clue should be equal.
The same thing happened with Hurricane Mutts when we handed out a bunch of those.
Check you later, Chad. Hope you had a good day.
Yeah. Exo, I acknowledge your comment. We should be getting the total amount of universal and national blueprints it takes to unlock each tank we have researched. So for the ones that are getting removed from the tech tree, like you get to keep the tank if you have the tank, and then otherwise you are getting basically XP in the form of blueprints. So.
I'm going to bring the Patriot.
The Patriot.
Patriot.
All right, tier 8. Round in.
Yeah, so sorry. When you get a chance, can you scroll up a little bit? There was a good question.
Yes.
So Card says the KV2 is repugnant and stupid. I think that's a personal opinion. I don't think it's overpowered, I guess is what I'm saying. If you think so, maybe play the KV2 and let me know if you still think it's overpowered. Okay, so Dusty Pants on Twitch said, is there a list of anywhere
Yes.
to inform players which tanks they should stop progressing to versus rushing to unlock for the next
Actually.
update? Yes. Go check out the
can,
article.
Yeah, I can also post the album that someone created that shows what tanks are being removed. And guys, like we said, those tanks are being quote-unquote removed. They are not being removed from the game. They are just being removed from the tech tree. They will not be researchable. They will be able to be purchased through the store with credits.
But if you are worried about losing access to them,
Yes.
get them now, for
Yes.
sure. Are we
there
ready
you
for a tier 8 count-in when you are?
Yes. All right. Tier 8 count in. Get ready.
Alert Jordan, I agree with you to a large extent on that comment.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. So X1 Track wanted to know if people know there's a list. Yeah, so we post a link to the article. It should have the vehicles there. Note taken on a concise list with just the list. I think we could probably do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Here's
when
the
I get a chance.
Sandbox article again. Highly recommend you read through that. Also recommend that you watch the video like 20 billion times. 20 billion. Yes.
She really wants to show off that hoodie.
It's a good hoodie. I wish I
say,
could have it.
Of the higher tier vehicles that I've seen are being removed, I really think the one worth getting is the 30B prototype at Tier 9, the French Tier 9. It's a really good tank. Tier 10, it needs some love. It was due to get some love that didn't get.
Will the tanks being removed be counted toward nation speciality? I still need to destroy some of those to get medals. That's actually really good question.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the answer to that, so I'm going to snip your question and send that to Domo, because poor Domo gets to come back to this whenever he comes back.
Where are you going?
Yeah, I do want to find out the answer to that. I do think, of the questions that we're asking, that's on the lower end. But at the end of the day, we are going to make sure those quests still make sense after all the changes, for sure.
Grandster says, with the new tech tree changes, if you own a tank that's being turned into a special status, will we get a free transfer for the crews to other tanks? So I believe any tank that is considered a reward or a special vehicle doesn't actually need you to change their specification. You can use it in the same way that you can move a normal tech... Wait. Sorry, it's the other way around. I don't know. That's also a good question. Because you can move normal crew into a special... Maybe they'll be moved off of that tank. I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah. I'm gonna.
I mean, they'll stay on the tank because the
Yeah.
tank's not getting removed from the garage, right?
Yes, but the bigger question is, let's see. I'm gonna read the whole thing this time. With the new tech tree changes, if you own a tank that's being turned into a special status tank, will we get a free transfer for the crews to other tanks, since they are no longer needing to be specific to that tank and would have to be transferred to its tech tree replacement? So, for example, I have the Jagdpanther 2 and it will be replaced by the Ferdinand. Will the crew automatically transfer?
That's a really good question, too.
Yeah.
Can you save that one for me?
Yeah, I'm going to. That's the one that I was trying to answer, but I realized that I'm going the opposite direction, in that basically premium vehicles, you can move crews into it without any penalty.
Without training, yeah.
But the other direction is not true.
Right.
Okay.
But since these will be reward vehicles, they'll have that mechanic.
Yes. So.
Because reward vehicles are just premium vehicles that the credit and XP boost, right?
All right, so I'm gonna read Sylvatic Waves comment on Twitch. Second thingy I want to address. I like the way you word things, Sylvatic. Second thingy I want to address about some derp guns is about the tier 6s. I understand that
There
one
he is.
shooting tier 4 new players is not a good thing. But for example, when you're a tier 6 fighting a tier 7 or 8 heavy / medium, sometimes your gold rounds are not even effective against them. And certain map and situation does not allow you to flank, although unreliable 105 derps are the only way to slowly chip away at their health when Artie is absent or in city maps. I don't know if there was a question in there, but you're right.
Where was the total post? Sorry.
This one. Talking about basically having derp guns on tier 6 tanks is good because they can chip away at upper tier tanks.
So I think, like, at least in terms of the design as stated, that is something that should actually be more accessible with the changes, not less accessible. Because lower caliber HE is going to be more effective, it should be that more, even though that the the dirt might change, more vehicles will be able to do some amount of damage that matters to vehicles in that situation. Because the lower tier stuff will be more effective.
That lucky ML.
So I hear what you're saying. I actually just think that that's something that's going to improve with the change because
Yeah, they did mention that about equaling out all of the HE that's happening in the game, so they're all bringing it up to around the same level.
All right,
And don't forget, HE is supposed to be used for knocking out.
well, not around the same level, but lower caliber HE is going to get better, and higher
Yeah,
caliber
and-
HE is going to get a little worse.
All right. Dana Bruce says, what will happen to vehicles removed from tier 6 to 10? Can they be acquired again, perhaps by other means? Yes, that was addressed in the video. That the actual means of acquiring them is going to be addressed at a later date. But for any tanks lower than tier 6, you can purchase them in the collectible or the collector's store. And
this
then
is
Mountain
bad.
Lion says, when is the Tech Tree discount coming up?
I can't share that information, but it is happening.
Yes. Can you see this message, Wargaming? Yes. Yes, we can.
Who asked it? On what platform?
Roro on YouTube.
Good luck. You got a lot of hate coming from the east.
Just a
Why
little
is
bit.
all of this balance coming out at once? It is not. We did do 4 tests
Well,
of separate parts of this.
So I
which
think he's asking
includes-
why is it all being done at once?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's because it's all interrelated to the
Yeah.
extent that doing one of them without accounting for the others is a mistake. That's at least the theory.
Roro says, I think that the changes are okay, but you might be going the wrong way. Why removing tanks from the tech tree? So we are removing tanks from the tech tree to simplify it, so that way new players have a more clear path upwards, and they have basically less of a way, or less
Where'd that shell go?
confusing options. If you give someone too many options, sometimes there's a lag and a non-understanding.
Compare it to like I don't know what I like. So
Yeah.
here's 9 different flavors for me to try to see
Yeah.
if I like that flavor.
Yeah.
Compared to what the tech tree is going to be, which is like, oh, here, just try 4, and like this is going to dictate easier on where you want to go in the
Yes.
tech tree.
Let's see. Quickie Baby said these changes will be apocalyptic. What do you
End
guys
of
say about
times?
Did
this?
he really say apocalyptic?
The end of
Apparently.
times.
So, honestly, for one, we do kind of recommend that you guys play the test on your own, so that way you can form your own opinion. We do take opinions from CCs, but, form your own opinions, see how you feel about the changes yourself, submit feedback. Period. Just
Yes.
submit feedback, regardless if you like it, if you don't like it, if you hate it, if you want to quit the game because of it. Submit all of that, because that gives us a better idea of what you feel about it. And then on top of that, please understand that this is a test, and it doesn't mean that this in its exact phase will be implemented. It is a test. It is a test.
Yeah. Can you scroll up a little bit? Cryptic
Yes.
had a post I wanted to read, and then Card had another one. Cryptic said the powers that be across the pond aware of the changes to standard premium are going to affect +/-2 matchmaking. I'd hate to be a Swedish Leo trying to get damage on a mouse chin type 4 object 257, etc. Yeah, I hear you on that, Cryptic. It's definitely something that we'll raise in our report. Card says, could you pass on my feedback about balancing Leopard 1 around its ammo and then changing how ammo performs globally to undercut the buffs? We waited 5 years for a fix that's going to last less 1 year. I guess I just fundamentally disagree that the buff to the Leopard was about the ammo difference.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll pass the feedback on, but I don't think the Leopard's going to be less effective than it is now because of the ammo
Because there
changes
still
in
hasn't
relation to
been
other
a
tanks.
giant ammo rebalance yet. Like, the only thing that changed with the Leopard 1 was the gun statistics.
Yeah. And then there was another continuation from Sylvatic Wave, continuing my last message with the HE change. The already unreliable HE damage is even more unreliable. So we actually addressed this during the beginning of the stream, but Cabbage said he was basically seeing the same things and was experiencing the same things. So we're gonna hopefully
Anecdotally.
anecdotally
He played the Death Star and was like, well, that was a okay hit.
yeah.
Well, my hits, the 2 hits that landed and those other 4 shots that went into the ground. But it felt like the damage was about between a non-pen and a pen, which feels okay, but I know that that's not everyone's experience so far.
And then my experience on the Death Star throughout the day that I was playing was I slapped a medium tank in the turret with 1100 damage, just because. And then other times I was shooting a mouse in the face, and I was only doing 16. So, but every time I shot the mouse in the face, it was 16 damage consistently. So
Dead
I don't know if that's
Slacks.
just because I'm hitting the strong points or not.
Dead Slacks, are the CW tanks in the bond shop going to rotate at all? I don't want to waste bonds if something one more comes around. They
They
are
should
supposed
be.
to change at some point, Dead Slacks, but I don't have any information on when at this time.
Yeah.
You want to do tier 5?
Sorry, guys. We have a lot of chat coming in. We're trying to address all of it, but it's
When
hard.
is the stream code? Oh snap! Now.
Weren't you supposed to cough?
I was. Fine. Let me try it again. There.
Wow.
There you go.
I had to make it ugly.
Wash that mic before you go.
Hey, I'm the only one that uses this one.
T-Strip says, I feel like more of my shots are missing on the Sandbox server than the live server. That was also my experience. T-Strip.
Same here. I don't know if that's just because
No, it's probably
I've never
just-
played that tank before.
What,
Probably
what
just a
tier
bad
are
run
we
of luck.
doing with
Tier
13
5?
Disciple? Oh, tier 5?
You want to do tier 5, Crazy Boot?
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
tier 5. Is it because you
We
want to
gotta
play
play
the left?
we gotta play the tier 5 Sherman. When we
No.
can. Oh, wait,
No.
I readied up the wrong tier. My
Get
bad.
ready. Phlegm covered code, yeah. Stream code brought to you by coronavirus. Thanks.
No, thank you. Let's take it easy.
me-
Tier 5 ready.
Jokes.
Vincible says, any
Yeah.
plans to allow us to convert national blueprints to universal? I have many blueprints from the holiday event that I doubt I will ever use.
I don't
I don't
think
know.
you can
I
do
don't know.
that in your back.
Not that I'm
system.
aware of, Vince. Hold up, there was one more a little bit ahead. Execrable said, my only real concern is that meta tanks will be even stronger if the balance goes unchanged. Thought you could damage the Chieftain turret with HE? Not anymore. That might be a very valid point.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
Yeah.
doesn't that mean the 430U is going down?
Alright, tier
I don't know about going
5
down.
account.
It's all the
in
problem is it's all relative because every tank's going through the same changes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And this is why we're waiting to rebalance all the tanks.
Will
This
there
is why
be-
we've waited so long to rebalance all the tanks.
Yeah. Supa Dubba Dupa says, will there be on-tracks for the high-tier tanks prior to the New Balance removals? I don't know, but also those are being turned into special tanks, kind of like the FV215B183, where they're special tier 10 tanks that you can earn in other ways, and so expect to still be able to earn them in the future. How that has not been
that would be a
discussed
cool
yet.
thing to do though.
Yeah.
I'll talk to the team that schedules them because it would be cool to do an event to help people get those tanks before they get removed.
So Squeaky says, so is my OI getting buffed or nerfed? What am I supposed to do with my T49 Derp Scout?
We don't know.
We don't know.
The changes aren't even 100% in stone yet.
Yeah.
We need you to play the New Balance test to give us your feedback specifically.
Yeah. So Cardinarfa says it's exactly the same as when we gave feedback before the Leopard got consideration. Like I'm talking to people who don't understand the tank. What?
I
mean,
mean the leopard.
That's an opinion, though.
I mean I just don't really because clearly the leopard changes were very good and you liked them. So I just I understand where you're coming from. I just don't think I don't understand. I don't think the difference between the premium and the standard shell on the Leopard 1 is going to change in a fashion that makes the Leopard less good than it is now. The Leopard 1's still going to have very fast, very high pen shell, and then another very fast, very high pen shell that does slightly less damage. There's going to be a trade-off between the two. I don't think that is ultimately... I mean, how often do you shoot the premium round on the Leopard 1 as it is now? To be honest, I don't shoot mine a lot. Maybe I'm bad, but I don't think the premium round is a key feature of why the Leopard 1 is in a good place right now.
Frank Int 73 says you want feedback.
That's just my
Don't
personal
do it.
opinion.
So, while that is a very solid opinion, I highly recommend you expand on exactly what
Why?
it is about New Balance that gives you the feeling that you don't want this to happen to the game. So this is something that I like to use as my example. If you bring your TV that is broken to the store and you ask them to fix it, they will do everything to look at all of the different parts of the TV to try and figure out what's wrong with it. However, if you say, the screen on this TV is cracked, I need it replaced, that is much better for the people trying to fix
Crazy.
your TV to address what you...
Can you
what
come
you
knock me over, bud?
No, I can't.
it,
you look at my
it
health?
will...
I got
don't ruin
37 of them.
gameplay.
I can't help you.
I mean, we need very specific feedback.
You want me to try to... Can I explode you out of that corner?
No.
Alright, I'm gonna swap to Crazy Boo.
13 Disciple, maybe you can help me out, bud?
Alright, by the way, where do
I
I
was
put
reading
my
chat while
feedback
driving,
besides
and,
to you guys? Do we have a forum post for this?
Yes, there
Yes,
should be.
Okay. Alright, let me grab the forum post.
Was it for the New Balance stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, it's at like 10 pages.
It's been a while since I rolled. This is, by the way, guys, this is why you don't text and drive. This is
Yeah.
exactly why. If you ever want an example of why not to text and drive, this is what happens when you're reading while driving. You end up like this. This is you in your car when you text
I'm
and drive.
guessing it's this one. Incoming, this sandbox test is mandatory. That's
I'm
what
getting some help
guessing.
here.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Oh, jeez.
There we go. Yeah, thanks, 13 Disciple.
Okay.
I hope there's a tank with a crane coming on it, just so we could...
How are you people so good at this game? We never claimed to be so good at this game.
No, I've never had less time to play World of Tanks than I do right now, so
Michael
I'm worse than I
says-
usually am.
Michael says War Thunder trash.
Yeah,
Thank
I agree
you.
with that. War Thunder trash. Okay.
Damon says
Alright,
it looks to me
cool.
like wargaming developers have to continually mess with something to justify their jobs. Guy, I don't like I've said earlier in the stream, guys. We actually do balance patches far less than other
mean-
MMOs, like far less.
Yeah.
We haven't done a balance patch since the Leopard 1 change, which
Yeah.
was
Our-
almost a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's just not true.
Our players like fix the game, but then when we try to, you guys get mad at us?
Well, you know, like no, you're not. They're not a monolith. People have different opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But please be
But it's
be
not a
more
hive
specific in
mind.
what you like and you don't like, because
Yeah.
it does matter.
Yeah.
Card says I feel like I'm talking to Fox News.
Like
don't-
when
I'm not
y'all
that biased.
like one of my favorite things is going to read like game reviews and then seeing that people aren't like addressing exactly like specifically like, oh, this game sucks. It's just like, okay, why does the game suck? And they're just like, it sucks because I don't like it. I'm like, that makes no sense.
It's not helpful.
No, it's not helpful.
James says on console the forums get locked when you try to communicate. Can't comment on console stuff, so I don't
Yeah.
know. Zugo says Victor says Wargaming is going to fix Soapy Rocks in the Havoc engine and ETA. I know it's something that's nominally being worked on. I haven't gotten an update on it recently.
Yeah.
I mean, so like going into a game engine and trying to fix something is really not fun and easy. So it may take a while.
Kevin on Facebook says, I've been playing WoT since 2012, and if these changes happens, I don't think I'll be playing anymore. The only change I like from the whole super test is the low tier HP increase. Okay, I mean, that's
pretty good feedback,
thanks,
actually.
Kevin. I mean, can I ask, like, what do you think is going to change about the game so much because of these changes?
Is that his name?
Do you play primarily HE
believe so.
balanced tanks? It is a big change, don't get me wrong. I'm trying to get a feel for why you think the game is going to change so much that you won't enjoy it after playing it for 8 years. Because that's pretty significant.
Hugo Steele, you are currently in our platoon wait list. Do you want to let us know what your in-game name is? Just throw it out in chat, and we will try and get you into the platoon. We are finding that there are multiples of you.
Also, at least 13 Disciple, in case you didn't see it, Crazy Boop said, thank you for the game, you rock.
Hugo Steele,
But he said
no
it in Platoon
underscore.
chat after you left. So.
I did say it.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate you.
Bad Brad said, I'll miss
Crazy?
my derp jumbo. Yeah,
Hugo
it's about
Steele,
it.
no underscore.
Hugo Steele.
Okay.
Hugo Steele. Stiglitz! Randy says, low tiers played fast and brutal. It reminds me of tier 10 in a lot of ways. Mess up and die quick. And that's a universal World of Tanks thing, as I showed in that stupid game on Malinofka earlier.
Tier 10. He wants the Death Star. Before it's gone.
So
I don't know, it
RB
might
Boy says he doesn't like that HE and Hesh are going to be treated the same, and he doesn't
Kinda.
like that there's going to be 0 pen on those.
Kinda.
That's pretty fair.
Hesh-
That's some really good feedback. That's actually an opinion about a specific mechanic that we are trying to introduce.
Hesh and HE are differentiating by one factor. Hesh does more damage.
Hesh
Yeah.
is going to do more damage.
Yeah,
So there is that. So they're not exactly the same.
yeah.
But I mean,
Well, he said they're going to be put in basically the same bucket,
They are
which
gonna be
means
put in the
they're
same
not
bucket. That's fair.
getting pen, which is fair. But yes, that is very good feedback. Thank you for letting us know that you don't like that they're going to have 0 pen.
It's definitely a new way to play with the HE rounds in the
Yes.
current New Balance system.
All right, what
Uh,
tier are we doing?
Tier 10, we're ready for a
and
count-in.
Get ready.
I don't know if you noticed that. Did you try using a normal round to shoot at anybody when you were in the Death Star?
no.
Because it was boasting.
I'm not sure I actually bring normal rounds with me when I'm in the Death Star.
Because like
My Death Star motto is Hesh's love, Hesh's life.
All right, 5, 4,
because I tried to shoot
3,
people and it didn't work.
2, 1, go. What is the black market offer? Probably something that's in our game. There you go.
What's a black market?
What's the black market?
That was fun to do for a few weeks.
Something that's in the game files.
I thought that was illegal.
Hey, Cabbage, how's the leg doing?
It's pretty good. I'm almost back to normal. Well, I don't know about normal. I mean, obviously the ankle sucks, but I'm walking. It's not bugging me too much.
Is tonight the last black market offer? I believe so, right?
It is, yeah. Tonight's the last one.
I would rather have seen them bring back many of the old maps instead. I miss Pearl River. I miss Port. There's a lot of what is what is it? Not Serene Coast. Was it South Coast? Southwest? Something like that?
I don't think there was a Florida map in our game.
No. Thanks. No, it's not Serene Coast, was it? It was the one that had like the really nice long beach on the west side.
No.
I broke Cabbage.
I'm sorry. There was a conversation going in our corporate Skype channel the other day, and somebody on the ship's team, actually Karma Tika, for those of you who are familiar,
Oh, yeah.
was talking about how she didn't want to be known as being from Jacksonville because her parents were, but she wasn't.
I remember that.
And I said, why would you be concerned? Why would you be ashamed of that? Jacksonville's one of the top 10 swamp cities in northeastern Florida, which is a joke from The Good Place, but. Scott,
What's funny is
God. South Coast.
It's not wrong.
Okay, it was called South Coast. I'm
Yeah.
not crazy.
It wasn't a-
It's only a good city
Jeez.
because it's technically in the north end of Florida, closer to Georgia.
Whatever. Anyways, South Coast
Come
was
on,
probably
Gunners.
one of my weirdly
Come
favorite maps, and I really hope that gets reworked and brought back. Same with like Swamp. I'm just like going through all of some of the old maps that we have.
If we bring back Swamp, can we have like crazy Florida man people like try to dive bomb my
We
tank?
can't-
Because that would be amazing.
Crazy, we can't have people in game. You know this.
It's a Florida man, not a person.
Yeah, it's not a person.
Florida man. No, just we'll model them after
I'm sorry,
Bigfoot.
Floridians. It's too easy of a joke.
It's okay. I'm okay with it.
He's Floridian.
I'm Floridian.
Is it
I actually
confirmed
love
that
Florida. It's like the
some
Wild West, but in
tanks are
Florida.
changing classifications. What? I don't think any tanks are changing classifications. I just think that the tech trees are getting simplified a bit.
Now I'm that guy. My best friend is Floridian. I can
My
say what I
best
want.
friend is Floridian.
Not to get too political, but we have a really good stand your ground law.
But wait, like, can we talk about why Florida gets all these like weird news things? It's
So
because
I heard it was because they have a specific law about publishing
Yes.
crimes.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, I once read a headline that says Florida woman assaults someone with dead puppy, and I'm just telling you that just doesn't happen in other
no,
states.
no. I think you mean the one where Florida woman stabs her husband with a dead squirrel.
Nope, those are two
No?
different. Those
Oh.
both happened. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you that
different
that stuff
ones.
doesn't happen in other states. At least not.
Okay, but
Did you hear about the astronaut that drove from Texas to Florida in an astronaut diaper? Just
What?
yeah.
Yeah, it was another
What?
Florida. What is it? Something in the air?
You know what's
Is it
my
the
favorite?
sinkholes?
My favorite.
It could probably be both.
Chad is not on board with our.
You know what
Florida
my favorite
shit
thing about, my favorite roast about a state is? What is it about Ohio that makes people want to leave Earth? Because so many astronauts are from Ohio?
Uh,
I was just like, I don't know. What is it about Ohio that makes people want to leave Earth? Tell me, guys.
is that a punchline or is that
No, that's
Oh, okay.
that's the actual like roast.
the? I don't know. I guess I had such a good time in Ohio last year that I have a good opinion of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
Well, that's
Here it
also
is.
because you went to the best steak place
Twice.
twice.
But that's true. I did.
Twice.
That's true.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna still hold that.
Shout
over
out to
your
Rennick's
all's
Meat
head.
Market in what town? It was in the small town, not in
Ashtabula.
Ashtabula.
Yeah.
Or Ashtabula, however you pronounce it.
Ashtabula.
Anyway, if you're in the area, go check it out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But
I
also,
also
think
went there twice.
Part of it is too, though. I think people don't like where they grow up, or some people. There's a certain kind of person who just is programmed to dislike where they grew up. I moved around a lot as a kid, and when I moved to the Bay Area, California, a lot of the kids in like the high school I went to were like, "Oh man, I can't wait to get out of here. This place sucks." And
Yeah.
me, who had lived in Arizona and the South Side of Chicago and a couple other places, I was like, "You guys
don't even know.
You have no clue. This place is great."
This place is great. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's kind of a universal thing, you know.
Yeah.
I honestly,
I just think it's really funny
I
that
like all those
it's.
places.
Yeah, I just think it's specifically funny that Ohio has so many astronauts. Like, a lot, like a ridiculous percentage of astronauts are from Ohio.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And then they just
Yeah.
stay in Florida.
Yeah. Hold on, let me Google it. How many astronauts?
Did you have metal
Are
detectors
from
in your
Ohio.
schools in California?
in Chicago. not in California.
25 astronauts.
that would be my leading thing. Like, there's no metal detectors here. Shut up.
Jeez. Let's see. Ohio is the birthplace of astronauts.
Whoa! How was I? I guess I
Pokehon
was spotted
asks
the whole
tanks
time?
like the
That was a nice shot.
P-2640, the P-43, as well as wheeled lights rely on their HE shells to
Okay.
have a decent DPM. So why are devs gimping their DPM? In the video, it shows them as utilizing the HE shells to finish off people and damage their external modules to help with that thing, help your team pretty much. The other rounds are going to be used for damage and higher penetration. You could still use the HE rounds in a light tank because you're supposed to technically be driving around them, aiming at their weak spots.
I don't think
Yeah.
Primal knows where the dev team is.
Yeah, so Primal, I hate to throw a wrench in your insults, but we aren't, like, the overarching title for people who work in games is developers, but we don't work
Well,
on...
there's two main sides. There's developers and publishers.
Yeah,
and
we're,
we work
we're
in
publishers. Yeah. We're not we're not the code monkeys.
We pass feedback. We do marketing.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All development for World of Tanks is done in Minsk,
Yep.
which is a lovely city, by the way.
Yeah, it
I had some
actually
horse
really
there.
is.
It was delicious.
Daniel on YouTube,
Completely
Daniel Beast
unironically, I loved
asks
it.
how much pen do they have? How much pen does what have?
Let me see if they asked. I don't see any
I didn't
other.
see it.
Not a big fan
Yeah.
of Kvass, though.
I really try to help this logic, but it's illogical with zero pen because HE and shells explode when they hit an object, right? After that, the shrapnel needs to pen something to do damage, but how will they do damage if they have zero pen? Second, until now, we know how damage is calculated.
Oh, that was Hot Watt.
But so, RB Boy,
Sorry,
with HE, when it splashes, it does a specific amount of damage depending upon the thickness of the armor that it's hitting, and also like the radius from. There's like a
Fall-off.
video. Basically, yeah, the fallout of the HE shell is basically like a sphere, and so it explodes in a round area, and there are points that come out, and that basically explains
when they announced the
how-
changes to HE
Yeah.
for all of the arty, that's the video that
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
The fall off is like there was a bubble, and before the fall off for the bubble was very, very big,
Yeah.
and now they put that into consideration, and now it falls off even quicker.
Yeah.
So like when you get a direct hit with a HE, it hurts more compared to like if you were
Yeah.
standing right next to it.
So if it hits thinner armor, it's still gonna do more damage. It just you need to be more accurate with it, and you need to like the point from the center has to be close enough, and it also has to be direct. So it won't go through any like armor, I believe, but it will splash on thin pieces of armor.
Could you scroll up a little bit? There was a long
Yes.
comment from Kevin on Facebook says, all high tier tanks that have good HE are basically useless and all heavily armored tanks essentially get a buff. Also don't like how they are removing so many tanks from the tech tree. Iconic tanks like the T-49, 183, and others aren't worth it anymore. The HP alpha damage changes are not necessary, and now we have to relearn it all. Now you need more gold to penetrate heavily armored tanks, and if you have less armor, they can shoot AP at you. DPM is lower if you shoot gold at heavily armored tanks, while theirs is not. So that is something that's supposed to be one of the reasons we did all these changes at once is the HP changes are supposed to reflect the fact that you're going to do less damage to higher tier tanks. It may not be balanced perfectly at this time. However, because that is the stated goal, I think you will see changes over the incremental tests in that direction. Also, somebody earlier said that this is the last sandbox. It's not necessarily that. So the previous tests each only tested one facet. And this is the final test in the sense that all of them are being integrated into one test. There are still many tests to do.
Also, naming convention for this thing shouldn't technically be a sandbox
It's
because
a New Balance test.
it's not acting like a sandbox at all.
Well,
you don't have all the
at
tanks
all.
unlocked like you would in a sandbox.
Yeah, it's true.
It's more like on the long lines of common
Yeah.
tests. So we're treating it something completely between a common test and a sandbox and just calling it a New Balance
Yeah.
test.
Uh,
That's
Po-
the proper vernacular that we're trying to
Pokehon
use.
says if they're intending to make HE shells a pure utility shell, are they going to buff the rate of fire on vehicles like the ones I mentioned in order to make up for the lack of HE DPM? I don't believe so. The video specifically states
It's possible.
well,
but I haven't
it's
heard it.
possible, but the video specifically states
just
that
comments on it.
HE only firing is going to have lower DPM. Period. We'll see what feedback and what additional testing brings, but nothing's impossible. But the video does say that firing only HE is going to net you less DPM, like flat out.
Tier 8 ready.
All right.
Yep.
Tier 8 count in, get ready. All right.
The Object
5,
704 is
4,
underpowered.
3,
Are you sure?
2, 1, go.
Mimi on Twitch says, I'm glad for the changes. I'm tired of meme tanks like the T-49 with the dirt. Certainly another perspective. Justin says, can Wargaming have a dev or two on the Discord every now and then so we can ask questions of them in person? I don't know how the just work, but I think it'd be a cool idea. Justin, we're actually hoping to have a dev come on to this stream. And a Discord thing might be another possibility. It's really hard for us specifically because we are in the worst possible time zone to try and coordinate something with the devs. Because usually, right as I wake up in the morning is when I have all my meetings with people from HQ, because that is when they're leaving the office. And by the time we get around to stream time, that is when they're asleep. So we definitely will try and coordinate something, but it is difficult.
And then someone asked, could you show us some of the collections since we can't view them? What do you mean collections? Are you talking about the collector tanks? I believe, and this is something, if you want to know what tanks are
block the hole.
becoming
You're blocking the hole,
collector's
Scorpy.
tanks, I will post the link. There is a album that someone made that shows what tanks are being removed and turned into collector's vehicles. So,
Crazy Beep said he's going to compile a complete list
Oh, well.
yeah.
because he's a good guy like that. White Wolf says, I love that World of Tanks and A does these talks while platooning with the community. Lots of great information, clarifications. Hey, we try. I know we don't have all the answers, but if we get good questions, we will try and get the answers for them.
Yeah.
Oh, that Wheelie Boy is so
Alec
fast.
Williamson wants to know, what is the cause of the black market fail at the beginning?
Yeah, good question. I can't give a competent technical explanation, but the teal deer is there were issues with the black market programming that were not apparent until it hit the live server with a live opening.
Stuff is whack, yo.
But we saw some. A lot of the comments were like, "If you tested, this wouldn't happen." It's like, well, we ran tests. This problem didn't occur in tests. There was something specific about the live server architecture that caused an issue. So it's supposedly fixed, and we haven't had issues since Thursday, right? Was the last day.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't happen again. Fingers crossed.
And then Doc Vegas 777 says, what complaints are motivating all these changes? One of them is that people think that gold ammo is too OP. And then the other one is there are a lot of people who complain about the way that HE works, including on tanks like the FV and artillery and stuff like that. And then another complaint for low tiers, which is why we're buffing the HP pool, is to basically help new players get introduced into the game. We're trying to raise the time to kill, which makes it so that people can actually learn from their mistakes instead of basically starting the game, dying in 30 seconds, and not understanding what they did was wrong, and not being able to correct that in the middle of the game, and instead having to go into the next battle with maybe a different tank, and still not learning that, you know, maybe going out in the middle of all of the enemies is not a good idea. So.
And you have a chip on your shoulder.
And also, I mean, not like the new player thing's definitely a big part of it, but also like low tier gameplay just happens so fast.
Yeah.
That in general,
Yeah.
I think it will be improved.
Like,
by
if you look at the
these
DPM of low tier tanks compared to the
But-
amount of
and keep in mind,
HP,
nobody has effective armor at those tiers.
Yeah. Like I said,
If you're a medium
ridiculous
tank,
at
you're
low
a
tiers.
boss in low tiers.
That is what makes like a lot of the broken lower tier tanks are broken because they have armor that sometimes works.
Yeah.
Like that's like the dividing
you
line
mean
between like the Valentine 2 and the Minnie Mouse is like sometimes
Yeah.
the armor works on those tanks, which
Yeah.
none of the other tiers
Or like the
tanks.
Panzer, you know, create a new account and do the exact same thing, but, you know.
Good luck. I did what I could.
I'm bed
All
dead.
right.
We still have our friend in the Alpine Tiger though.
We do.
Dead man Jesse.
Don't die. Living is
Smurfs.
good. Dying,
Yeah,
not as
Smurfs.
good.
So I saw some comments there about OP Russia bias, German tanks not good enough.
Germany did have a tank banned from the game. Just gonna say that.
the WT 100, yeah. The E100 does need buffs. Jan, I think, had that comment. And again, the only reason there haven't been balance changes recently is because we knew that this new balance was on the horizon. And it doesn't make sense to rebalance tanks until this happens because this is going to change every tank. We will see more individual tank balance changes after this patch.
Yeah. Elm Street doing that would just make it so people make new accounts to beat on new players. Like, there's not really a way to stop that.
Sylvatic Wave has a comment. Besides the Jumbo suffering from the configuration being wrong, KV-85 has the same problem. You guys might not like the .5 dispersion 122 guns, but I'm a 390 Alpha Master Race that braces Stalin every day to guide me in snapshot with it.
Wow.
No, I mean,
He has his own doctrine, okay.
I respect your playstyle.
Up next is Iron Strikes.
Captain Napalm says, I have an idea, Wargaming. Instead of changing the damage of standard rounds in Pen of HE, just limit how many premium rounds can take. So I actually liked this idea too until I watched 13 Disciples' video. He has a 27-minute video. It's very long, but it's a great video on his opinions on the shells, and he actually addresses the why not just limit the premium rounds. And I
What was the
can't.
name of the guy? Sorry.
Oh, Iron Strikes.
Iron Strike.
Iron Strike. I can't summarize his argument here, but try and check out that video because he actually does a pretty good job of explaining why that would be a difficult, imperfect
13
solution.
Disciple, if you could post that video, please.
Like, there is no perfect
If
answer
you're here,
for
send
this.
it to Monty, and Monty can post it. Or no, it's on YouTube.
I can
so
also find it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Tier
I gotta find
6.
the video.
Corey on Facebook says, how about after 1,000 battles and lower tier tanks? How about lower 1.8 for those battles? You see 30k players with 15k and a 67. So more gatekeeping between lower tiers and higher tiers. It's not something on the horizon right now, but I understand the frustration.
They are announcing like an actual season system.
Oh, Iron
Which is-
Strikes is
which
bringing
is
the
cool.
KV2.
Ah, okay. The problem of premium ammo and how I would solve it.
Yes, that is
Okay,
the one.
Cool. I will post that video if you guys want to watch it. Go for it. Highly recommend it. 13 Disciple is an incredibly intelligent person when it comes to a lot of the inner mechanics of World of Tanks. So a lot of it is very in depth. All right, y'all ready for tier 6?
Tier
counting?
6.
Tier 6 ready.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm going to do my best on this. Twitch name, Quatil Alva. Quatil Alva. I did my best. Says, are you guys going to have in-game surveys for the pros changes? Yes, 100% yes.
Yep.
If you participate in the sandbox test, you will 100% receive a survey. And I believe also some surveys are going to go out to people who didn't participate,
Yes.
just to see what they know about it.
You also get some premium time
but
and
yes.
a cool badge.
Yes, so
You have missions to complete.
your best chance for helping out or making things the way that you think they should be is to actually download the test client, try it out, respond to the survey with your feedback, and then if you have more elaborate points you want to post them in the feedback thread on the forums.
Yeah. So David Bass says, just because a player is in a low-tier tank does not mean they are new. They could just be starting a new nation. That is true. Also, another thing about playing in low tiers, if you're starting a new account, you are basically limited to players that are less than a certain number of games when you first start a new account. And so only people with new accounts will be able to play with each other unless you are platooning with someone else. So there is a small, basically, buffer for people who have just created an account to not drop in with people who have more than a certain number of battles. When will we get the survey? I actually don't know. So the New Balance tests started yesterday and will last about 10 days. My guess is it will happen after all 10 days are done.
I believe that's correct,
Yeah.
but I'm not 100% right now.
I didn't see any verbiage in the article about it.
JD
It's
NoCal.
mentioned in the video.
My guess is you'll get the survey either in game or through your email. Those are the two places that I would presume
I
that are
believe
the
you'll get a link in game.
Okay.
I have to double check. I try and
Yeah.
keep as much in my head as possible, guys. But you ask many questions, and I cannot retain all of the information in my
Yeah.
small
Ooh,
brain.
nice shot.
Remember, it's a
Sorry.
big head, but it's mostly bone.
Okay. Which is the difference between HE at all tanks with 0 penetration and HE with Arty that has penetration 60 millimeter, for example? I mean, strictly how will they work? The technical part, not the caliber or something like that. Just the technical mode of operation. My presumption is, with the way that HE works on tanks that do not have penetration, is there will be less damage if you hit thicker parts of the tank, which is basically the way that both of those HE works. However, with tanks that don't have penetration on HE, it will be negated more by thicker armor that is further away from the tank, or let me find the HE video. But basically, with artillery, if it does pen your tank, it will do internal damage instead of just doing external damage. You will also probably
Here we go, boys. Dumb cabbage
possibly
move.
get hit for a little bit harder.
So dumb.
Let me try and find the SPG.
Were they looking
Just
at
had to do it. just had to do it. Yeah, they were ready for me.
Was it?
I thought I was going to be able to loop right around behind the trash pile there, but there was another. I didn't realize there were 2 Cromwells. There was one on the mid one and another one on the lower one, and I thought there was one Cromwell that had moved, and then I came around the corner and realized that there were in fact 2. So that made my options of movement much lower than I thought. But I knew going in I was doing something dumb. So it is what it is. Can you switch to Crazy Boot?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm trying to find the video about.
Guys, I'm not a sheriff
how
today. Please stop shooting me.
Explodey things work.
Yeah, so one thing about the in-game surveys is they try to limit how often people get them because we don't want to swamp people. So if you get a single in-game survey, you probably won't get the next few that go out. They'll rotate the SPIDs that they send them to.
Okay, so
Cryptic says, so HE from normal tank shouldn't kill crews anymore? Ooh, that is an interesting question, actually.
wait, what?
HE shouldn't kill crews anymore.
Yeah, I believe that should be true because the video states that you
open
would
top,
only
though.
yeah. Oh, with open top?
I don't. That's something I'm going to have to
I don't
ask
know.
because that's a really interesting question about the changes to them. Gildahar says, how do we get the special badge on the New Balance test, and why are they conducting this test during a Clan Wars campaign when their most experienced Vesta players won't have time to play? Gildahar, I totally hear you on the Clan Wars campaign thing. That was not intentional. Clan Wars was supposed to happen a month earlier. Clan Wars got delayed. They are different teams working on those things. Ideally, they would not have happened at the same time, and it's unfortunate that they are happening at the same time.
Okay, so I found an article on detailed splash mechanics. Splash mechanics will include 3 components, which is shrapnel from the shell explosion, spalls on the outer surface of the armor, and splash radius. Basically, shrapnel from the shell explosion. Shrapnel is formed by the metal jack of the shell. When explosion breaks, it separates into pieces. They scatter around in a sphere and get stuck in obstacles. After rebalancing, fragments will only scatter to the first obstacle in their way. This is the key difference compared to the shrapnel acting according to the laws of the current mechanics. So basically, instead of scattering everywhere, they scatter, and the first thing that they hit is what's going to tell you how much damage you do. As a result, shrapnel cannot damage internal modules except for vehicles with open cabins. Armor damage from this mechanic is absorbed linearly. The thicker the armor, the greater the absorption. For the player, this means the exclusion of illogical cases of causing damage when, for example, an engine inside the hull catches fire after getting hit in the commander's hatch. Spalls on the outer armor.
So that is how it works.
Yeah. Basically. So, armor spalls are formed on the outer surface of the armor during the explosion of a high explosive shell. They are scattered on a conditional cone perpendicular to the armor. It doesn't matter at what angle the shell hits the armor. Spalls damage the armor and can damage the internal modules of the crew member. Like shrapnel, spalls cannot penetrate obstacles. The damage from this mechanic is also absorbed linearly. The thicker the armor's vehicle, the higher the absorption of spalls. For most HE shells, all 3 mechanics work simultaneously, but can be configured differently for each armor group. Each module and each crew member and damage is calculated for each mechanic if the mechanics in principle can cause damage to a specific object. And then splash radius. Sorry guys, this is really long, and I will post the article that I'm reading
it's
from.
It's fine. It's good information.
Unlike shrapnel and armor spalls, the splash radius is not shielded by obstacles. In this case, the damage is only reduced. Also, splash radius doesn't cause damage to crew members, and the armor absorbs it non-linearly. The thicker the armor, the greater the absorption, but the armor cannot completely absorb the damage
So
from the splash.
it's the concussive damage that they're describing.
And this is why HE shells will inflict at least minor damage on almost any armor. So I will post that. That is actually from the World of Tanks Asia. That is the first article that I found. It's under this collapsible little section. I highly recommend if you want to know more about how the HE changes in the sandbox were working for SPGs, go check that article out.
So if you're going to Death Star something, you have to Death Star it in the weakest point of the tank.
Well,
Yes.
it'll be best for you to do so.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's where you'll get your higher damage rolls.
Can you scroll up a little
Yes.
Damon said, "Oh yeah, that's another thing I love. I do the monthly tank awards that give you 0 comp if you already have the tank, which is
There's
actually,
actually 50% compensation now.
as of this month, you do get some credit comp for it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we have to go to Asia for this type of info? That was the first article I found. I'm guessing we have an article, but that's the SPG.
It should be in our article. if
It
it's in
should
there.
be in our article, but that's the first thing that came up on Google. I didn't specifically look for NA's article. SPG, HE, Shell, Sandbox.
Pat says nerfing Hesh and HEP rounds is still dumb in my opinion. You're still entitled
Here
to
we
that
go.
opinion.
I found the same one. on
Ca-
ours.
Captain Obvious, yes. I realize the Death Star does use Hesh and not HE, but in the New Balance, they're kind of the same.
Mock says, "I can't play the sandbox because my computer is a potato and don't have the specs. Is there any way for me to participate in testing?"
More potatoes.
I don't. Unfortunately, Mock, I'm not sure. I think you'd have to be able to download it in order to participate in it. If you you're still welcome to have opinions on the changes that we've announced. So if you do have thoughts, feel free to share them. I don't think I can help you get into the server though if you don't have space to download it. Jeldar says, "I want to say that despite all the controversy and chaos, you guys do a good job communicating and being honest with the player base and doing everything you can to inform us. We do try. I know that's frustrating. We don't have answers for everyone. We can't talk about some stuff, but we do try." Okay, KV4 is going to be removed. No, hopefully we'll see some. Actually, I was thinking the IS4, not the KV4.
Yeah.
To derp. The IS4 and the E100 should still be receiving buffs shortly after this patch. I really hope so.
Me too.
Wouldn't it be more logical for HE to have low penetration, like 15 millimeters rather than 0? 15 centimeter shell and splitting inside an open top tank would logically do a lot more damage than AP, just saying. Yeah, that's totally fair.
Well, I found the one with the article for NA. So here's the October sandbox, which I believe was the
Yep, that's
last
the one.
sandbox that we had. So that's the one with the HE mechanics and how the splash radius works. I highly recommend reading that because it goes highly in depth on how these mechanics work and how HE period works on the sandbox server or the New Balance server currently.
Joe on Facebook would like to see some French tank buffs, it looks like. Pocahontas says, what I meant is in the game now with the P43, your DPM goes from 1400 to 2600 with HE. Are they going to buff something to make up for the net nerf the HE changes will bring? For that vehicle specifically, I am not sure. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Because since they are making changes to the HE shells, they're trying to make sure every tank has 3 shell types, correct?
Yeah.
For that reason. So like a tank that would normally be doing most of its damage with HE will now also have a shell that can penetrate like a normal standard shell.
JD NoCal says, suggestion test server, allow trading rooms so we can grab a couple of guys good at map and test. Yeah, I'm actually a little curious on that. We tried to do that
we were
earlier.
So-
But we would like that too.
Someone asked how many battles you need to complete all of the missions. So I'm not sure if you can complete these simultaneously, but the mission 3 says be one of the top 10 XP earners on your team in 30 battles. So if you can complete them simultaneously, you need 30 battles to complete mission 1, 2, and 3. If you can't, then that would be 55 battles because it's 10, 15, and 30. So that's 55 battles. So if possible, if you can complete all 3 at the same time, it's going to be 30 minimum. If you can't, then complete them simultaneously. It's going to be about 55 minimum.
Eastern Hops on Twitch says, hey guys, are the guys on the screen blurry or is it just my side? Actually, we're blurry in real life. That's normal. Your camera's not malfunctioning.
Yeah.
Look like a smudge on the lens. What can I say? I'll apologize to my mom for that.
All right, so we're gonna have to wrap it up here soon. Steven has a question on YouTube. Will tiers other than 6, 8, or 10 ever be relevant in competitive modes such as skirmish battles or clan wars? Maybe a tier rotation would make other tiers usable, at least 7 and 9.
Ooh,
I'd like to
off-tier
see that too,
tournaments.
Steven. There are off-tier tournaments.
Yeah.
So tournaments are one option as far as skirmishes or ranked. I actually personally would like to see that. But other than that.
Don't we do tournaments weekly, daily?
We do tournaments, but tournaments, yes, we're talking about other modes, though,
Oh,
or
okay.
specifically other modes. Joe wants us to throw Frenchie a bone. I hear you. I do. The tier 9 non-auto loading heavy is quite good. The M54 is it, or the M40? I can't remember. And then there was Wolvesbane asked, so no answer on ranked awards and NA not being able to get the tier 9 German tank? Question mark. As far as I know, you will have the opportunity to get the tier 9 German tank.
What?
Sorry, I'm not sure what you're referring to, Wolfsbane. Rockstraw says removal of tanks is unnecessary and unwarranted. Sad that Wargaming has to alienate their players. I like the ability to get tanks when I want, not have to keep them in the garage so I don't lose them. Note taken. I mean, if you really, if you have tanks you really want, keep them though. Don't get rid of them.
Alrighty. I think that's just about all of the time that we have. If you are on Twitch, we are going to be rating.
So, sorry, when Wolves, you will have the opportunity to get the same vehicle. That's when it comes out, you will.
I've just
Yeah,
found out things. There's suitable vehicles for these missions,
Yeah.
so be sure to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, who are we reading?
We are going to be rating Nick Shocks.
Nick Shocks. All right, guys, thanks for coming by. Sorry we weren't able to answer all of your questions. We have a list of them that Tragic has compiled that we'll try and get answered by Thursday. We'll be back at Thursday at 6 p.m. Central with our later evening stream and have some fun playing World of Tanks. Please go try out the sandbox if you are interested in the changes. Let us know what you think, if you hate it, if you love it, if you like it, if you don't care about it, whatever. We're happy to hear about it. And thanks for stopping by and supporting the game and the stream. We really appreciate you guys.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.